What's up, G Fusion fans? This is Philip, and welcome back to another toy review. Now we are going to get back into reviewing Gunpla featuring Gundam's G-Frame FA Freedom Gundam. So before I begin, I would like to remind everyone that this video is not intended for viewers under the age of 14 or 13 perhaps, and we are not sponsored, so please be advised. So another thing that I would like to remind everyone, you're probably seeing this video mirrored. I apologize for that, but I want to get this video out as soon as possible. So I'm just keeping this mirrored because editing takes quite some time. So again, I apologize for that. But if you want to see this model uh, in its original position, which is not mirrored, I am going to leave a link down in the description so you can see the gallery featuring the Freedom Gundam. All right. So the first thing that you noticed is the name right here. So the FA in G-frame stands for full armor. So what does this mean? Now, compared to the previous G-frame line, so this means that there will be armor parts that will cover the entire frame. Now, what do I mean by this? So I'm going to give you guys an example. So I have here a model that I have reviewed on this channel before. So this is the High New Gundam. So if you guys haven't seen my review of the High New Gundam yet, I'm going to leave another link down in the description so you guys can see the full review of this High New Gundam. So again, what do I mean by the full armor in the FA in the G-Frame FA logo? So how does it compare? So as you can see here, so this is of course a fully armored High New Gundam, but if you look at the back, I'm actually going to fold the wings back here a little bit and then pull it closer to the camera. So open up this part here so you guys can see. So right there, so there's a part that is not entirely covered by the armor. So yes, there's only one armor part that you can attach there, but the back is a bit exposed. Now there's also some exposed parts right here behind the thighs. So you can't see that because the skirt armor, the back skirt is in the way, but where my finger is touching, that is not covered by the leg armor. So again, there are some parts that are a bit exposed. So uh, that is basically the main issue that the G-Frame FA tries to fix this time. So anyways, let's take a look at the finished model. So this is the Freedom Gundam. Now, when I bought this, I was actually trying to decide which one I would get. So I'm actually going to show you the lineup for this FA series. So as you can see here, of course, again, you need the armor set and the frame set, but I'll talk about that later. So included in this lineup are the Dual Gundam Assault Shroud, the Alex Gundam, and the New Gundam. Now, I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about the Alex Gundam. So the Alex Gundam can be equipped with the Chobham armor set, which is sold separately through P Bandai. Now, the new Gundam, you can see here, has some new updates, especially with the wings, so you can have both sides with fin funnel wings. And actually, the new Gundam has already been released before with the earlier G-frame lineups, but again, there have been updates with this one. So regarding Gundam Seed units, so again, like I've said earlier, I was trying to decide between the Freedom Gundam and Dual Gundam. So why did I choose Freedom Gundam? Now, to be completely honest with you guys, I went to the store a couple days ago. So when this came out, so wasn't really sure which one to buy yet. So I came back the next day and I saw that the only units remaining are two sets, so basically four boxes for the Freedom Gundam and two boxes for the new Gundam. Now, honestly, I didn't really want to bother with the new Gundam. I already have the high new Gundam, so I went with this one. So, uh, I guess the reason why I would have chosen the dual Gundam at that, the reason why I was also trying to decide between this and the dual Gundam. So the dual Gundam, I had actually an appreciation for it, in recent years. When I first saw Gundam Seed many years ago, I really didn't care for it. So it was only recently that I've gained an appreciation for it, and yeah, it's kind of sad, really. So actually, with the Dual Gundam, you can switch between the regular Dual Gundam and the Assault Shroud armor. So that is a very nice gimmick to have with the Dual Gundam. So there's that regret, to be completely honest. But uh, when I got the Freedom Gundam, there's actually a reason why I still think this is worth it. So back in 2004, I bought myself a no grade Freedom Gundam. And looking back, the no grade Gundam Seed toy line is basically one of the worst things you could ever buy. If I only had a time machine, I would have gone back to 2004 and slapped my young self for not settling with an HG instead. So this is my redemption arc in a way. So yeah, enough with the storyline. So sorry about that. So this is the Freedom Gundam. So again, let's go back to the FA part. So if you guys remember the high new Gundam that I've shown a few minutes ago, so there were parts, especially at the back, that were exposed or not covered by the armor. So I'm going to fold the wings just a little bit. So you do have the arms, right? So this part right here where I am touching, that's one part that completely covers this inner frame like a sleeve. So now this part is fully covered, and also at the back, the back thigh right here, so you can actually see it now. So this part is also completely covered as well. So if you look at the Gundam, so other than the joints, which are basically always exposed anyway, so again, most of the frame is uh, basically perfectly covered with the armor parts that you get. So again, in order to actually complete the Gundam, like I've shown earlier, you need both sets, the armor and the movable frame. So yeah. Now, as for accessories, it comes with the Lupus beam rifle, and you can see that there is this peg right here. So you can actually attach it to this hole in the back, right there, for storage. And of course, you have the anti-beam shield, and of course, the backpack features the Balena beam cannons, which I will show later. Okay, so there you go. So let's check out the articulation on this thing first. So it does have a neck joint that kind of moves forward and back. It's kind of tough. So the head can spin around a little bit. It can turn left and right, but it cannot go 360 because the collar blocks the entire head from moving. So the arms are actually have a special joint right here. If you can see through the shoulder, so that part is actually quite exposed. So it can go up So more than 90 degrees. You have this 360 spin, kind of. Yeah, I just got the wings out of the way. And of course, the armor covers a shoulder joint, which allows for rotation like this. So you can see the elbows actually bend more than 90 degrees. It's not a double jointed elbow, but you are able to get that much movement. So the hands are on a ball socket. You can turn them around and you can take them off. So they also have open hands, but I am just keeping the holding hands slash fists. So you of course have one for the beam rifle, and yeah, the torso is also in a ball joint, so you can turn this around like so. It does go 360, and the ball joint kind of allows for a little bit of ab crunch. It's hard to see on the camera, but yeah, it does. It does have a little bit of ab crunch right there. So the side skirts can also move like this. They can so they only flap up and down like so. So the front skirt is actually split into two parts, so you can individually move them. As you can see here on the right, or left actually, that's where the camera is pointing. Yeah, so they are already separated. So so if I flap them out as far as I can, so let's check out the leg movements. So you do get a bit of a 90-degree kick to the front. To the back, it's blocked by the back skirt. So to the side, it cannot go 90 degrees split because of the side skirt armor. So, so the knees are actually double jointed, but because of this thruster part, I guess, you do get quite the bend at the back. I'm not sure if you can see that through the armor, but there we go. Yes, it does have quite the bend at the knee, but again, this part right here prevents more bending, but that's okay. And the feet are on a ball joint, which can also turn, and pivot like so. There's no toe joint, which is fine. So you can go as far as that. Again, that's okay. And for the back part, so you have the wings, of course. So they are attached to joints here on the backpack. So of course they have pivoting, so you can uh, move them like this. I'm not very good at posing though, so sorry. So anyways, so the wings are actually articulated, so you can open them like so. So the front, the back, and the one actually attached to the base, so you can open the wings like this, right? See, you can see more in this position. And then you have the balaena beam cannons right here, so you can flip them to the front like so. So I'm actually going to flip both beam cannons like this. Right. So whenever you do this, probably you're imagining the anime version where uh, the wings are open to the side and the beam cannons are flipped out in front. Well, that's actually kind of impossible because there's no joint for the balaena beam cannons to move, to allow any sort of movement like that. And you may also notice that the balaena beam cannons are quite hollow on the inner side. I don't mind that, but we'll address that later. So anyways, that's how it looks like opened. Now, as for the non-movable frame, which uh, I kind of not used, so just like the high new Gundam here, you can turn the non-movable frame into an action base like this, but I actually didn't bother with that because I am using an actual Shokugan action base, and there is a hole right here in the crotch, so you can attach this one. Actually, let me do that right now. So I am going to put the Shokugan base adapter into that crotch hole. So there you go. It's now secured. So the extra parts are actually in the box. Now, one thing that's new about this G-Frame F8, so as you can see here, I'm just going to move this guy for a sec, and there we go. He's kind of out of frame. So you do have runners. Actually, there are three. One is just inside the box. But yes, you now have runners. So these were actually weren't present in the previous line. So again, there were no runners for this guy right here. So this is the first time that Bandai actually implemented runners for the G-Frame line. But these runners are only for the inner movable frame. So with the runners, I actually think this becomes more of an actual gunpla kit than just a candy toy. And yes, you do get a piece of chewing gum for each box, which I already ate as per usual. So yeah, again, because of these runners, it feels more like a legitimate, you know, Gundam kit. So yeah, I'm just gonna put them back in the box. So, so this is where I put them, and yeah, the again the inner frame, so the non-movable inner frame that I didn't use, is inside this one because again I already have the Shokugan action base. So yeah, so this is what I'm sticking with for the rest of eternity. So there you go. So now let's address some issues with this kit. So first, now I always thought of the G frame as something as marketed for its you know ease or convenience. So again, you don't have to paint this one. There are no stickers necessary. Panel lining is optional. If you really want to panel line your G frame units, that's fine. I just don't think I need to panel mine, so it's okay as is. So uh, it's also a lot easier to assemble because well, most of the parts have been pre-assembled. So let's say again, let's compare to the high new here. So this guy pretty much came assembled, especially with the inner frame, or the movable inner frame to be precise. So now, with the runners on the movable inner frame, it's a bit more additional work, but like I've said earlier, it also feels more like a legitimate kit. So yeah, there you have it. Now, the major issue that I have here, so regarding the parts on the back. So like I've said earlier, so now let's address this issue. So like I've said, the inner side of the Balayana beam cannons are hollow. And if you look at the side skirt, so this is the Ziphius rail cannon. So as you can see, it should have two, right? Now, the Ziphius rail cannon on this thing does not open into its rail cannon mode. So to fix these two major issues, you may need to order the option parts set, which also includes option parts for the Justice Gundam, which is coming up soon in the next lineup of the G-Frame FA. So yeah, links are now. I'm actually going to link down in the description for the actual lineup if you want to see it. But right now, pre-orders are open for that option part set for both the Justice Gundam and the Freedom Gundam. So with the Freedom Gundam option part set, you have new wings, again with the Balaena beam cannon without any vacancies there. So like it's a complete piece, and you also get new parts for the Ziphias rail cannons, but they are only open, so they do not move to close at all. So if you want to change parts, so you have to take this off, attach the open version, and if you think you're done playing with that open version, take it out and put this back on again. If that is the case, I highly recommend that you get another version of this Gundam instead. Go get an HG or something. Go get a master grade, a real grade if you want. But again, if you're going to buy the G-frame and then go for the option part set, you might as well get an HG or higher. So yeah, so that is what I think the biggest issue with this kit is. And I actually think like the dual Gundam is actually more worth it. Like it's more cost efficient. So it doesn't have like a complete set of accessories. Like for example, you don't have beam sabers here, right? So the Lacerta beam sabers are not functional. You don't get any beam sabers for this kit, like not even like the toothpick style beam sabers that are not transparent or even painted on. So you do get those, however, with the option part set. But again, if you're going for that, you might as well get a high grade or even something like a master grade. So yeah, if you're going to get a G frame Gundam, any G frame unit really, just enjoy it as is. Like set your expectations low, I would say. Now, from what I heard, there are also no seam lines, but really Bandai. So there are still some seam lines on the side, however. So traditionally, like as far as I remember, you would sandwich like left and right, but for the G frame, you sandwich them front and back. So yeah, there are no seam lines when you look at it from the front, but if you look at it from the side, yeah, there are some seam lines, especially on the legs right there. So I guess it's fine. But, it is a plastic model. Seam lines are going to be part of it. Like any plastic model, you will see the seam lines. But again, it's something that I don't really complain about. So, uh, so with the inner frame, going back to that part, right? So yes, you do need to assemble them. You have runners, but I think Bandai took a page straight out of their entry grade line, which means that you don't need nippers to cut the parts from the runners. So you can just use your bare hands and rip them right off, which I did, and it was quite tough. Not gonna lie, but again, you don't need to use nippers on those runners. It's fine, and you don't need to worry about nub marks because basically it's just for the inner frame anyway, so you don't need to clean up those nub marks at all. Again, You will see some nubs on the other pre-cut parts. If you need extra cleaning up, well, that's up to you. But again, most of that will be for the inner frame anyway, so you don't need to. Right. So yeah, like I've said, the biggest issue with this one is the fact that, well, I mean, I don't, again, personally, I don't mind this, uh, like the cavity for the inner side of the Balaena beam cannons, but like I've said, if you're opting for a more complete figure or model kit, just go for a high grade or higher instead. But is that gonna stop me from recommending this particular lineup? Actually, no. So I got this one for about 1,300 yen, and I understand that for inflation, like you could have gotten some high grades with that already, but overall, I think this is still a nice experience. Like when I look at this one, like the finished product, when you pose them, especially when you use the action base like this, I do highly recommend that you get Shokugan action base if you're really uncomfortable with using. I mean, this does kind of look awkward if you, again, you use an action base like this. But I do understand that it prevents waste of parts. So, but again, if you want that, if you're sorry, if you don't want that, rather, you're free to get an actual Gundam action base or a Shokugan action base, because this is a candy toy, and this kind of action base is meant for Bandai's candy toy lines. So I actually would have to say, like, for the G Frame Freedom Gundam, uh, like this alone, right? Without the issue of needing to uh, buy the option part set just to fix these two major issues, again, the Balaena and the Ziphias. So, again, this actually is a nice build in general. So, I have to say, I would give this Gundam a 3.5 out of 5. Now, the model itself, I guess it's a 4, but with those issues considered, it just draws back a bit. Again, if you are really concerned about some of those issues that I've mentioned earlier, well, you really have the option of getting something better. But for the G frame, I highly recommend that when you buy this one, or again, any model under the G frame line, again, set your expectations low. That way, you do avoid disappointment. And because I have had a worse version before, that no grade Freedom Gundam, this is absolutely much better than that. I mean, considering the price back then of that no grade Freedom, I saw that it was actually 400 yen, and this one is 600 yen. So one box of this G frame is already more expensive than the no grade. But again, looking at the finished product, I actually don't mind, because again, like I've had worse. This definitely was a much better experience for me in general. So yeah, uh, you can get one from Premium Bandai if you want, or you can also wait for the option part set if you're really into that. But again, is quite this is adequate, I would say. Not the best, but this is adequate for what it is. Okay, take it as it is. It is a candy toy. It is a plastic model kit, but again, if you want something better, you do have better options. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do leave a like, and a comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. It does look good.